Gervonta, I don't know. What if Jake hits him? You know, Jake's a big guy. I don't know if Gervonta stood next to Jake. Jake's a big guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
And Gervonta is small even by lightweight standards.
Right.
So it is a little bit of a David and Goliath.
What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. Whatever. At first I was like, damn, Tank, like that's kind of crazy, like, duh. But then I started thinking about it throughout the day. I'm thinking about it. I'm seeing the post, and I'm like, yo, none of this is guaranteed.
This is dangerous. That's the warning echoing across the boxing world as Jake Paul is officially stepping into the ring with Gervonta Davis. Set for November 14th, the bout pits the 200-plus pound cruiserweight Paul against the compact, undefeated lightweight champion Davis, a size differential that has raised eyebrows even before the first bell. Veteran pundits like Spencer Oliver have openly questioned the matchup's legitimacy, characterizing it as just a little bit odd, dismissing it as a bad idea and betting on Davis's precision, speed, and knockout pedigree to prevail.
Quite surprised because it sounded like Jake Paul and Joshua was getting closer and closer for January. However, there have been rumors of Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul in the past. I think with Gervonta Davis, it's kind of legal problems in the last month or so and rumors about his retirement. I don't think it's a massive shock that he is taking this Jake Paul fight if it is going to go ahead, purely for the reason that it's a lot of money for maybe not the most difficult job that he's going to have in his career. So it's a strange one, but yeah, it's just another kind of day in the sport, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight. And now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this. But Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, no?
My point still stands where it stands. Jake Paul wins this fight. I already bet Gervonta Davis in the DMs. We locked the bet. Guys, it's obvious Jake wins this fight. If you guys know anything about fighting, you know about weight classes. You know that Jake's been training for actual years. He's been locked in.
Shakur Stevenson didn't hold back, calling the idea of Tank fighting Jake Paul a terrible idea due to their massive size difference. He stressed that Davis should instead take on a real boxer himself, suggesting the exhibition would be disrespectful to the sport compared to a legitimate unification bout involving the best. Stevenson emphasized that Davis could make more money by facing a true elite, framing himself as the more fitting and challenging opponent.
You got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. And he called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money. But from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me. And if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
There's a huge size advantage, though.
it is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
Yeah.
On TalkSport's Drive show, Spencer Oliver slammed the Paul Davis matchup as a freak show, calling the 65 lb weight gap and contrasting styles a puzzling spectacle rather than a legitimate fight, highlighting that Paul often fights at cruiser or even heavyweight. While Davis is a 135 lb lightweight champion, Oliver said he should have picked someone his size. He added that Davis's speed and knockout power could easily allow him to slip inside and take Jake Paul out. Ultimately, Oliver questioned the fight's credibility and implied the odds favor Tank.
Out with this nonsense.
Well, Ring Magazine have actually released it, so that's pretty strong evidence that this fight is going to happen. So I think the negotiations with Anthony Joshua have broken down, and I think that was down to broadcasting rights, who would get that with Anthony Joshua being on DAZN. Obviously, Jake Paul is on Netflix, and that's probably where the problem was. So I think that fight is sort of like dead and buried in the water. And we get Gervonta Davis, man, like you guys said it, is a 135-pound world champion, lightweight world champion. The guy's my height. He's 5'5", and Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You know, he walks around at sort of like 15 stone. So, and it's an exhibition. So, look, if you buy into that, then yeah, fine. But it's not one for me.
Ring Magazine, via lead writer Manuk Akopian and reporter Mike Coppinger, confirmed that Jake Paul will face reigning WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis in an exhibition, not a professional bout slated for mid-November at Atlanta's State Farm Arena, to be streamed live on Netflix. They emphasized the extreme weight class disparity, with Paul significantly heavier, and noted that official sanctioning is unlikely, as the matchup leans more towards spectacle than sanctioned competition.
Certain weight on weigh-in day, maybe even a rehydration clause in it, just to make sure the fight can happen. But it being an exhibition means there doesn't have to be a set weight. There doesn't have to be a catch weight. You weren't getting Jake to come down past 190 pounds or 185 at the very least. I know he said he'd do 185 for Canelo. I don't know about doing that for Gervonta Davis, but there's just not a physically possible way Jake is getting to like 175 or 170, and Tank, whatever he walks around at, whether it's 150, 160, whatever, he's not jumping up to like 180 pounds to fight Jake. So they had to make it an exhibition.
KSI has openly criticized Jake Paul over his fight with Gervonta Davis, labeling the matchup as a disgrace to boxing. He expressed his disappointment with Paul's choice of opponents, suggesting that Paul is avoiding a bout with him, KSI, and instead opting for easier challenges. KSI's comments reflect his ongoing frustration with Paul's approach to the sport and his desire for a legitimate fight between the two. When news broke that Davis would face Jake Paul in November instead of pursuing their long-anticipated rematch,
I mean, look, with Jake, the guy's been ducking me or running away from me for so long, man. Like, he's just making excuse after excuse, and now he wants to fight Tank. I mean, it just says the type of guy Jake Paul is. He only fights someone if he has a major advantage. Anything that's close, or anything that could actually be a decent fight, he runs away from it. So
Lamont Roach Jr. fired off a pointed reaction on social media, implying Davis had ducked him in favor of a more lucrative spectacle. Roach, visibly disappointed, viewed the choice as a deliberate sidelining of a boxing rematch in favor of entertainment. He also mentioned shifting his focus to a potentially meaningful bout with Shakur Stevenson if the Davis rematch remains off the table.
I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got the skills to pay the bills. I've been telling y'all that. And I'm just glad I got to show it, honestly. I'm glad I got to show it. I appreciate, like I said before, I appreciate True Boxing Media. Some guys that didn't count me out. So that's just how I feel, man. I think I won. And I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to dance again.
Do you want that rematch next? And if so, how likely it is that we're to see that fight happen again this year?
I'm not sure, bro. I'm definitely not sure, but hopefully we could get it before. Nah, it probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
What is?
You might see it in a minute. You definitely might see it in a minute.
His charges got dismissed in Florida.
Does that open up the possibility for talks to reopen?
The rematch, yes, it don't look like it's happening. That's just to, put it out there and be transparent with everyone. Again, we still haven't heard from his camp, like specifically when it comes to the business. It is what it is. As far as my future, man, we moving on. We can't just sit around and drag our feet. It's not like we're the cash cow, you know what I'm saying?
But do you think he even wants to fight you?
Honestly, no.
Eddie Hearn confirmed that Jake Paul is slated to face Gervonta Davis this November. Speaking at a media event, he said, "We know that Gervonta is going to fight Jake Paul in November. Then we'll see what happens," emphasizing the fight as a strategic move following the collapse of the Anthony Joshua negotiations. When asked about the mismatch, Paul being over 200 pounds and Davis around 135, Hearn admitted he dislikes exhibitions and oversized gloves, but acknowledged the business logic if Davis is earning far more than from a 50-50 boxing rematch. Hearn also noted that this fight could serve as a stepping stone for Paul towards a potential bout with Anthony Joshua in the future.
I will have to come up with something for Shakur Stevenson. If I don't, that may be the end. It's got to work for me as well as Shakur. Maybe I haven't got anything for him. Maybe he hasn't got anything for me. But right now, I know what we agreed with His Excellency, and that's what we'll do for now, and then see where we go.
I know you said you wanted to make that Tank fight, so hopefully we can see that in the future, Eddie.
He's fighting Jake Paul, isn't he? So he's got. I don't know whether he'll fight. What's the rematch?
Lamont Roach.
I don't know if he'll still fight Lamont Roach. I know he's fighting Jake Paul in November, and then maybe Shakur after that.
Thank you, Eddie. Thanks.
Jake Paul's talking about fighting Gervonta Davis, who's 135 pounds. And then on the other hand, he's talking about fighting a 260 pound monster in Anthony Joshua. Listen, he's crazy enough to probably do it all if the money's right. But we're not really interested in waiting until 2016. And we're certainly not basing our career around a potential fight with Jake Paul. But if we were offered it, why not? I mean, it would be such an easy night's work and it would be massive. And Jake's smart. Look, I know that we have our back and forth. Jake's improving as a fighter, and you have to respect the fact that he's dedicated not just to the business, but also the hard graft of boxing. I still don't think he's particularly good, but he's a decent, some level fighter. But he's crazy. At first, I always felt that Jake was just using these people's names. I think he's got that many people around him that I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks he's got a chance against Anthony Joshua. You know, Jake, I watched him, Jake. You'll knock him out. Yeah. It's like, but, there's a difference between fighting Gervonta Davis, even Canelo Alvarez, and then fighting AJ. The other two you can get just humiliated and schooled and beaten up a little bit. The other one you can be fully decapitated. So you've got to be careful and you've got to be smart. And I know you want the money. I know you want the big moments, but this ain't a game. That's it.
Think he's interested in signing Shakur after that?
Who?
Ludabella?
I don't know. I mean, I will have to come up with something for Shakur Stevenson. If I don't, that may be the end. It's got to work for me as well as Shakur. Maybe I haven't got anything for him. Maybe he hasn't got anything for me. But right now, I know what we agreed with His Excellency, and that's what we'll do for now, and then see where we go.
I know you said you wanted to make that Tank fight, so hopefully we can see that in the future, Eddie.
He's fighting Jake Paul, isn't he? So he's got. I don't know whether he'll fight. What's the rematch?
Lamont Roach.
I don't know if he'll still fight Lamont Roach. I know he's fighting Jake Paul in November, and then maybe Shakur after that.
British heavyweight Dave Allen labeled the Paul Davis exhibition as absolutely ridiculous and farcical. He questioned why a prime fighter like Davis would opt for a glut-chasing exhibition rather than rematch his controversial draw with Lamont Roach Jr. Allen warned that this move undermines the sport's credibility, criticizing it as a publicity-driven farce, not a contest worthy of boxing standards. Allen said he wouldn't pay a penny to watch it.
He's training this fight, but fighting against real bears. This is true. People are going, no chance, no chance. Do you reckon this guy, could he be the toughest of your opponents so far, do you reckon?
I don't think he's the best that I've faced. I've faced a few Olympic medalists, a few world title challengers, but I think he's probably the most dangerous. Maybe not the best boxer, he might not be the most technical, but he hits really hard, he's really big and strong, So yeah, I think it's the most dangerous task I've faced, but he may be not the best fighter I've been in with.
Whereabouts is the fight, Dave? Where are you fighting him?
So he's still at Sheffield Arena,
right?
Headlining in Sheffield, which is like my local arena. So yeah, it's a big night for me.
He won his last fight, didn't he, Dave, against Ricardo Brown, and 20 wins, 19 KOs he's got. So like you says, he is dangerous. How's the training gone for you ahead of this fight?
Yeah, it's been good. He's put a bit of fear in me, to be honest. I've had a bit of genuine fear. I've been stopped, but I've never been on the canvas ever as a pro or amateur. So, and I'd like to keep it that way, really. I'm not on anyone's highlight reel. You see highlight reels of all the fighters I face. I'm not on any of them, and I'd like to keep it that way. So yeah, training has gone up a notch. For the Fisher rematch, I did weigh a little bit heavy. So for this one, if I cut any corners, a good chance I'll get beat in bad fashion. So yeah, it has really perked me up a little bit. I've been training a tiny bit harder. I've been eating a whole lot better and resting, and I think I'm looking at a career best performance.
Good man. Let's move on top of this big news of the day. Cruiserweight Jake Paul and WBA lightweight world champion Gervonta Davis will step in the ring together in an exhibition in Atlanta, November 14. For context, the top weight for cruiserweight sits at 90.7 kilos, while the heaviest a lightweight can be is 61.2. Dave, this is surely I know it's an exhibition, but this is a mismatch, surely. It's ridiculous.
I'm not a fan of exhibitions as it is. I think if we're doing exhibitions, if there have to be a thing, let it be a thing for retired fighters.
Paulie Malignaggi has been scathing about Gervonta Davis long before the bout with Jake Paul was announced. He accuses Davis of killing the sport through selective matchmaking, arguing he's avoiding top-tier opponents in favor of easy PPV paydays. Malignaggi described Tank as a manufactured fake star, enriching himself with non-competitive fights, pointing to his lack of Hall of Fame names on his resume. Even while acknowledging Davis as a very good fighter, Paulie insists the matchups are engineered for spectacle, a fitting critique as he faces Paul's theatrics head-on. Fans are sharply split over the upcoming exhibition, with many dismissing it as a blatant money-driven event that undermines the sport's credibility. Critics argue the matchup highlights profit over pride, questioning its seriousness given the size disparity and spectacle-driven promotion. According to some critics, it was crystal clear that Davis was avoiding the rematch. The moment seemed obvious to anyone paying attention. As soon as Tank opted for the Jake Paul exhibition in November, the pieces fell into place. It's no shocker when you can read between the lines, a flashy payday over a risky title defense.
Some rumours and reports started floating about that Jake Paul's visit to the first fight wasn't just by coincidence. There was maybe something going on in the background for a potential Tank Davis fight. Do you know anything about that? Can you share anything around that?
Yeah, no, they were definitely talking. They were absolutely 100% talking. Tank Davis won that fight against Lamont Roach. I think it would have been a very good bet that they were going to do a fight between Jake Paul and Tank Davis. No question, they had conversations. Remember, Tank is represented by Al Heyman, the people involved with Jake Paul, Nikisa Badari, and that whole team. Remember, they were trying to do the fight between Jake and Canelo. If they had gotten to a point where the deal was agreed to, and then he ended up signing to do the business with Turkey. But the conduit between Canelo and MVP, Jake's company, was Al Heyman and his team, because that's the guy that had been representing and done the last few Canelo fights. So they got to know each other during that period of time. Yeah, and they were definitely having talks about that. I don't think anything was like official. I mean, obviously you'd have to figure out, is this going to be an official fight? Is the commission going to sanction it? I mean, there's one thing about the weight disparity, but they did, the Texas Commission did sanction the Tyson fight, even though they made some tweaks to the rules. And Mike hadn't fought for 20 years. But Tank, was a 135-pound champion, never fought above 140. He got Jake Paul, who's, 200 pounds, fought Tyson like well over 200 pounds. And that's a lot. I mean, weight classes do exist for a reason, but people would be, look, in the day, they would sell a fight like that, whether it was pay-per-view or they got a big number from Netflix or whatever. But whatever, not happening now because they're going to go towards a rematch with Roach because
Jake Paul didn't hold back as he admitted, "I would destroy him in the ring, given the size." That raw assertion, even wrapped in a nod of respect for Gervonta Davis's skill and patriotism, instantly ignited backlash. Critics say it erodes the seriousness of the matchup, reducing it to bravado rather than sport. With Paul towering near 200 pounds as a cruiserweight and Davis reigning at lightweight, the vast size disparity further amplifies fears that this isn't just a mismatch, it's reckless showmanship. After Jake Paul's controversial win over Mike Tyson, Davis took to Instagram to blast him as a whole bozo, vowing, "I'ma beat the brakes off Jake when I catch him." His pointed jab wasn't just for show. Earlier in 2025, he hinted at pulling Paul's name from his locker room and deflecting other contenders, suggesting Jake Paul was the one he wanted next.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. Would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I
laugh at him.
Did you ever do a fight like that?
I feel as though in my career, I can't do that right now. I'm not a Floyd Mayweather. I ain't no Manny Pacquiao or no Canelo. I think that I actually still got to have my foot on the gas as far as boxing.
Several boxing insiders see Paul versus Davis as a troubling sign of the sport's slide into entertainment over athletics. The pairing, driven more by streaming platforms and entertainment value than sporting merit. According to these analysts, it signals a departure from traditional values. Critics say it undermines the sport's credibility when matchups prioritize hype over competitive integrity. They point to this as evidence that boxing may be selling its soul, with pure boxing increasingly sidelined by what sells best to audiences.
Oh, Jake Paul is fighting
Gervonta Tank Davis.
Chilaquiles. Chilaquiles.
Musty energy. Musty energy. Musty energy. Musty energy.
Oh, it's musty, and I say that respectfully. Per Mike Hoppinger in the Ring magazine, Gervonta Tank Davis, freshly off his domestic violence charges being dropped, will get into the ring with Jake Paul in Atlanta with a proposed date of November 15th. Lord child. Tank weighs about 135. Jake Paul weighs about 200 some pounds. So obviously this will be at a catch weight, and this possibly will not be a sanctioned fight where it will count on anybody's records. But I'm gonna tell y'all like this: Tank fans, you niggas down bad.
Hatred.
Musty energy.